Okay, Aarav, I'll let you run the session now. And over to you. Thank you so much for taking time out and meet all the students over here. And have a great day ahead, man. Thanks.
Great. So for those of you who joined late, I'm Aarav and I'm a 17-year-old 12th grader. I'm just a little older than most of you guys. And I've authored a book called All Shades of Green, which talks about various environmental issues in the Indian context and tells how, informs people about how we can solve them at an individual level and what you can do, what you and I can do in our lives to actually save the earth from extinction. And first, I would like to thank iGenPod for giving me this opportunity to actually connect with everyone. And I hope I can inspire a lot of you to write your own books and share your own story. I hope everyone can see this presentation on your screens.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes.
Again, I'll just inform you on how
Yes.
it's going to go. I'll be presenting about my own book, and then I'll relate to book writing in general. And then maybe you guys can ask me any questions you have at the end of the session. So first, I'll be playing a video which talks about my journey as an author. Just a second. Yeah. Hey guys, did you know that when you have a darker colored car, it requires 2% more fuel to run it? Can you all hear me?
So we can't hear the video.
Sure, I'll play it again. That when you have a darker colored car, it requires 2% more fuel to run it. That's because it absorbs more solar radiation and it takes more energy to cool it. Make sense? We first discussed this idea of me writing a book on this topic in around June last year, so June 2019. But then, I had my discussion with my dad. I didn't really want to write it. And I just felt like it would be, I never thought of myself as a writer. And I never thought I could do it. So I just felt like not trying it out at all. So that's when in around June and August and late September-ish, I was just trying to figure out if I really wanted to write it or not. And just talking to my dad about it. My approach to writing the book was first list down all the interesting parts which I wanted to cover. And that actually started taking place late September. And I think in the winter break, the winter vacation which I had from from third week of December onwards, that's when I actually started writing the book with the correct structure and everything. So how you as a person can change to fit the needs of the environment. And I think that is what my book focuses on. Anyone who can read should read the book because it has tips for everyone, no matter who you are, what you do. There's something in the book which you can follow and implement in your lifestyle and which can actually help the environment. That's how I've made it available on the leading ebook platforms, and I've also put it up for free on my website. Great. So did you guys enjoy that video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
what I think we should do is I want to read a part of my book so you understand what I've written. And it's just going to be one paragraph. So because when I'm going to be talking about what you should write in a book, I'll come back to this. So I'm just reading a paragraph from my book, and it's on digital pollution. So I'm sure you must have heard that, doing things digitally, meeting digitally, reading digital newspapers. You think that's more eco-friendly, right? Because it wastes less paper, less fuel, right? Well, this is quite interesting that even doing things digitally has a carbon footprint and contributes to pollution. So I'm going to be talking about that. Tech companies have coined the term like the cloud. Have you heard of the cloud? Updating it to the cloud or storing it in the cloud, Google Cloud. Yeah. To make everyday technology seem like it's a weightless information storing our data. And this allows us to ignore the material consequences of our actions every day. So did you know that when you're talking to someone through the internet, there are millions of data servers or lots of computers which have to make sure that this process goes very smoothly. And for this to happen, there's a lot of energy which is used. And you know where energy comes from? It comes from power plants, where we burn coal and oil and fossil fuels. So who can tell me what a fossil fuel is?
It's a type of a fuel.
Okay. And do you know what it's made of?
Coal. Sir, coal.
Correct. And burning that generates a lot of pollution. Correct. Correct. So whenever, so by the time I've finished reading this one paragraph, around 150,000 emails will be sent all over the world. And each email is around 4 grams of carbon dioxide every year. And that's the same carbon footprint as a plastic bag. So that this is an interesting part which I wanted to share from my book to make you understand what I've written, and just talk about uh, the statistics which I've used. Now I'll be heading back to my presentation, and then we can talk about book writing in general. Sure. So before I move on, how many of you have thought of writing a book? You can raise your hand.
Sir, I have.
There's a raise your hand function, I think, on Zoom, and you can raise your hand and show me, or even on camera. That's fine. Lovely. And how many of you have actually taken the first step to writing work? Have you done any research or noted something or started writing on a page?
Yes, sir.
So what
Yes, sir.
you can speak to me now. So can you give me an example on what you wrote?
Sir, I wrote about the technology, how the technology is growing up, and about the papers that technology has grown up. So we can send emails and all of this, so that we should not waste paper for writing letters or that also. So we can use emails and that all.
Great.
I was writing that.
So I think we have a lot of budding authors here. But so now I'll be starting about how you can write a book, and it's very simple, the process. You just have to understand every part of it, and then you yourself can start writing it. And I wrote it at 17, but you can write it at 10 or 13 or whatever. It's not that complicated. So writing a book. Now I believe everyone has the potential to write a book. It's quite easy. All you have to have is something to say. Now, as someone said, they wrote a book on technology and how it's growing and how there's a lesser need for actual physical interaction or books or whatever. And that's a great point. Now, the book is just a way to present your point. Like I'm speaking to you right now. So that's a way to present my point, talking to you. So it's also a way of talking to people where others can read what your thoughts are on something, and you can convey to them what you feel about something. So again, book is a medium and you are the story. You don't think about book as being something very different. You're just saying what you feel and what you think. Is everyone with me right now? Great. So first thing you have to do when you're writing a book is decide what type of book you want to write. Okay. And there are three main type of books. There's fiction books. I'm sure everyone's read fiction books, which are basically based on creativity and imagination of the author. So you think of new things, make up a story, and you write it, and you use your words to help the reader imagine the story. So has everyone heard of Harry Potter?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Harry Potter is a fictional book. So
Yes.
the author J.K. Rowling, she thought of the whole world of Harry Potter. She made it up. She imagined it. She created it, and she is through her words she has shown you the world of Harry Potter. Then the second type,
Science fiction also.
this all comes under fiction, like whatever. There are different themes like science fiction and other stuff. And the next would be next category would be non-fiction, and non-fiction basically means it's real. So whatever is being written in the book is real, actual stuff. So my book comes under non-fiction because I've spoken about real things that are happening in the world and real data points, and so everything around you can be converted into a non-fiction book. Okay.
Okay.
The third is the biography. Now I don't think any of you youngsters will be interested in writing a biography, but it's basically a portrayal of facts and events, like writing about someone's life. And it's just good to know that there are three main types of books which are being written in the world, and I'll be mostly focusing on fact-based books or non-fiction books because that's my specialty. So what do you think makes a good book? In my opinion, a good book has good content, obviously, a well-defined structure, a good quality of writing, and a good cover page and design. I'll be talking about each of these individually. So good content. So imagine if you're reading a book. Would you rather be reading a book, or would you rather be playing with your friends, or watching a movie, or playing a video game, or doing something else? How many of you are actually interested in reading books? You raise your hands.
So,
But me-
I believe reading books. I will even
Sir,
leave my
I am interested.
Okay, so I'm sure because you guys have signed up for a book writing session. I'm sure you guys are. But do you think all of your friends would be interested in reading a book? No, right? In today's day and age, you have so many things to do. You can watch videos on Netflix or YouTube. You can play Fortnite with your friends, or you can go down and cycle or whatever. But do you really think books are that interesting anymore? Well, it's that
For me, they are always interesting,
I'm
even
sure.
if I get a very boring book.
So to make a good book, you need to be writing about something which is interesting, which people, because if someone's reading a book, they want to make sure that they're spending all that time into it. Reading a book takes at least 3 to 4 days if you spend all your time, and you have to absorb all that information. So you have to make sure.
But for me, I read so fast that it takes one day for me to read a very big book.
Great. So you are a fast reader, but still, because your experience, so it takes you less time. But if you think about it, if someone is spending so much time on reading a book, don't you think the book should be good? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Content. And then a good structure. Structure basically means that it has to be properly. There has to be a flow to it. You can't introduce everyone. Okay, so imagine if you're writing a fiction book and it's a story about 4 people. You can't just begin in the middle of the story and then introduce the characters later, right? You have to make sure that whoever's reading it understands what you're trying to say. So there has to be a flow to it. Writing and language, I think this is quite self-explanatory. You just have to make sure that everyone understands what you're saying and the language which you're using is correct, the English is correct, and everything. And cover page and design. You have to make sure that your book looks interesting and looks fun, because when someone's going to a bookstore and looking at your book, so they will pick the most interesting book from the cover page, right? If you see someone with a dragon,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if you see a dragon on a book, would you like to read a book, right?
Sir.
And if you just see like some old chair on a book, or something which is very dull and boring. Would you like to read that book? No, right?
No.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
So you have to sell the book, no matter how good your book is. You need to sell it on the cow page, and that's why a good cow page and design is important. So these are the stages of writing a book. Now I've divided into 7 stages. I think the first 4 are actually writing the book, and then after writing the book, you need to do a few things. So I'll start off with brainstorming for a topic. This means that you have to come up with a good topic which you can write a book on. And for me, this was quite easy because I knew I wanted to talk about the environment, and the content for me was already there. I decided that I wanted to convey it through a book form later. And once you have a topic and you've decided what type of book do you want to write, then you have to research for content. Now you may think that you know a lot about one particular thing. As I think someone mentioned, they're writing a book about technology. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, Yash, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Yash, I'm sure that because you have the confidence to write a book about technology, you know a lot more than your friends do about technology. But when
Yes, sir.
you're writing about it, you need to have a complete understanding. So you have to know more than any adult also, and that's when you have to research. So just whatever you want to write about, you should Google about it, watch videos, spend all your free time searching for it. And it took me, even though I knew a lot about the environment, it took me around 3 to 4 months just to get my content right. Okay, so you have to invest a lot of time into writing a book. It may the process is not it's not complicated, but it's not easy either. You have to spend a lot of hard work into it. Okay, and then comes writing and editing. Obviously, if you're writing a book, you need to write it, and that's the easy part, because 60% of your time you will just be finding stuff to write about, and the other 30% you will be writing it. Writing is very easy if you know what you want to say, because most of you think that you come up with stuff while you're writing it. That's actually wrong, and that's what I tried to do too. Before I realized that you have to ready everything, and then writing is just a way of presenting it. First, you have to know everything you're trying to say in the book. Is everyone here with me?
Yes.
Great. Then comes proofreading. So after you've written a book and you think it's complete, you give it to someone else, like your friends or your family members or your cousins or whatever, for them to read. And when they read it, they may find something which is confusing to them, or they may find some questions which they couldn't, like some things which they didn't understand in the book. And it's important to take part in this process, because they will be like an actual reader, because you know what you're writing about, right? And you may think that you've presented everything and told them everything, and everything is great in the book. But if another reader reads it, who doesn't know anything what you're talking about, and they find some issues in the book, so it's great to have that perspective on it, and just see if there are any issues with it. Okay. Then comes registering and copywriting. Now this is a very tricky process. So imagine if you write a book and you upload it on the internet, and someone else takes that book and says it's theirs. So you will feel very angry, right? Because you've spent so much time writing a book.
Yes. Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yes, Devina.
sir, there is one thing. There is one type of fraud in book, that any author wrote that book, and the other readers pretend that it's his book or her.
So that's where registering and copywriting comes in. That's very good, Devina. So what we do, after writing a book, you make sure that everyone knows it's yours, and that's when you register it. So you would go to the government, or go to so there's a thing called ISBN. I'm sure at the end of every book, I'll just remove one here. So there's an ISBN number here, okay, which is written here near the barcode, and which tells that this book has been registered to an author like me, and it's my property, and only I can sell it because I've written the book, and all credits go to me.
Sir,
Yeah, Ryan.
sir, where we can register our book?
That's also a very good question. I'll be coming to that later. Um, so these are the two forms of registering it, either ISBN or copyright. Copyright makes sure that everything you've written inside the book belongs to you. That I've copyrighted it, so no one else can copy it from me. And register the ISBN number is for the book as a whole, with the cover page and everything. Okay. Now, how can you register a book? And this comes under publishing. So you have, how many of you guys have heard of Scholastic? Scholastic?
Sir.
Sir, me.
Yes. So
Sir, Geronimo Stilton.
yes, correct. That's a fictional book. Okay. Now, Scholastic is a publishing house. So they take books from authors and they print it and sell it to people. Okay. So you usually publishing houses take care of all the registering and the copyright and everything, because as an author your job is to write the book. Okay, because you're using all of your brain power and all of your efforts to write and complete the book, so you leave all this other stuff to the publishing houses. Okay. And there are two types of publishing houses. There's the self-publishing house, which basically involves giving you all the rights to your book. So either you can sell them your book in a way and say that you can take my book and you can sell it to other people with my name on it, and how much ever money or profits you get, you can share it with me, because they're doing all the work of selling it and printing it and advertising it. Or you can self-publish it. So I'm a self-published author, which basically means that the book still belongs to me, and I've done all the work of promoting and marketing it. And there's this publishing house. There are self-publishing houses which help you do this. So after I wrote my book, I sent it to a self-publishing house, and what they did was they read through the book to make sure everything was fine, and they designed the cover page for me, and they advertised it and registered it. And it's good to have some help from the outside, because if these people have a lot of experience. Now I was a first time author and I didn't know how book writing goes or how you can register it and everything. So it's always good to have this guidance when you're writing a book. And after publishing comes promoting. So promoting is basically, how many of you know of advertising? Right? So marketing, ads. So have you seen ads on the TV, Coca-Cola ads?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, there are a few tricks so that they make the viewers of the which are seeing the advertisement to attract and to buy that, and then reality is not there because they do a few tricks.
Correct. Great. So what basically book advertising is that, of course, you've written a book. Now, how will other people know that you've written it? Okay, you can tell your friends, you can tell your family, but if you're trying to sell thousands of copies of your books, you need someone to inform everyone, right? So if I've written a book, how will you, Ryan, know that I've written my book, right? Yeah. And that's where
Yes, sir.
promoting and advertising comes in. So these people, publishing houses, they put it on social media, they put it on websites, they send out ads saying that, hey, are you interested in the environment? There's a young author called Aarav, and I've written a book, and it's great. It would be great if you went to my website and read it. And that's actually quite helpful when you're trying to promote a book, because you can only inform a very small amount of people. But if you have someone like this who's promoting your book and just advertising about it, then it can sell in a larger number. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll now give you some tips and pointers while writing. So these are quite important if you pay attention. So don't start writing the book without having the content. So this is quite important, because when you're writing a book, you can't stop and think, and you can't stop in the middle and start looking up information again, right? Because when
Yes.
you're writing it, even when you're writing an essay, you have to write it in one go. If you stop in the middle, you lose all your creativity and you lose the flow. So when you read it after stopping it, like after stopping writing, and you will say that the when you stopped first and after you started again, the words are not the same. Like there is no flow to it, because when you sit, imagine you wake up one day and you write something. This is for a fictional book, so you imagine something and you have some emotions going on during that time, and when you write that, you are in a different state of mind. And then after you sleep for an hour and you have lunch, you meet your friends and you're tired, and then you start writing it again. So you're writing it with a tired mind, and when you're writing it like that, there's a very different type of language which you're using, and because of that, the book loses the flow and it does not make sense to the readers. So always start with all the content ready. And this is why I always recommend people to write in vacations, because you have a lot of time then. You don't have to worry about school the next day or worry about tuitions or exams. You can write everything in chapters in one go. Okay? Then start small. So if you have no experience like me, like I directly jumped to a book, and I trust me, I was not good at writing. Like I used to score very badly in my essays or compositions in school. But I really wanted to write the book because this was something I knew a lot about, and I thought that everyone should know it too. But I did not try blog writing or article writing first, and that would have actually helped me a lot, because it allows you to get into that habit of writing a lot and expressing yourself, and that's what's important, because unless you have that, you will find it very difficult to write a book, and then you will think that, oh, it's not for me and I don't think I can write a book, and that's absolutely wrong. So if you want, you can practice with article and blog writing. It's basically like writing 2 3 paragraphs on anything. You can write about what your day was like, or what you saw in the mall, or just anything you write in school, but it will help you build up that flow, and that's what's important. Now keep thinking from the reader's point of view. So when you're writing a book, you have to think like a reader. You think, if you were reading this book, or you were reading this word, or you were reading this line, do you think that would be interesting? Imagine Geronimo Stilton. I think someone mentioned. So when Geronimo Stilton writes, it's quite interesting, right? A lot of cartoons here and there, and a lot of funny jokes, and a lot of just interesting stuff.
Fonts related to the word. Fonts related to the word.
Exactly. So when you have all of this, so imagine how much he must think that, oh, will Yash find this funny? Or will Rayan find this funny? You have to think it like that. Now, it may not be funny if you're writing about a day you had, or technology or whatever. It doesn't have to be funny. It has to be straightforward. You can't put jokes in technology, right? So you just have to think from a point that what would readers find interesting, and that's what's important. And always remember that creativity and hard work go hand in hand. That you have to think a lot and you have to work a lot, because only then can you write a successful book. Like your creativity will help you come up with the content, but your hard work will go a long way when you have to write the book, because that involves a lot of patience and time. Only then can you finish a book. Like my book, it took me months to write. It took me 3 months to actually get all the content right, and another 2 months to write and perfect it. Okay, and I'll be taking questions now if anyone has any. Just ask me. That's fine. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How are books published?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
How are books published?
Great. That's a very great question. So once you have the book, okay, has anyone, you guys use laptops and computers, right? So you know what a Word document is, or a PDF is? It's basically a file. I wrote my book because it's the 21st century and we have laptops and computers. I wrote my book on my laptop, and it was in the form, it could just fit in a pen drive. And then I sent it to the publisher, who made sure that I hadn't copied anything, and which I did obviously, because I wrote the book, and they formatted it into something which looks like a book. Like, there's a difference between writing something on a laptop and something that has this format. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. And when they converted it into that, then they gave me an option that, do you want to have a paper version of it, which has a real version, or you want to, distribute it on the internet as a document. So everyone with a laptop and an internet connection can read it on their laptop or phone or whatever. Okay. And I decided, because I'm writing a book on the environment, I shouldn't be, causing damage to the environment or cutting trees and wasting paper, right? That's when I decided to go ahead with an virtual book or an electronic book. So that can be downloaded from my website, aravstate.in, and you can have a look there. And so again, answering your question, there are two ways you can publish a book, either in the paper version or an online version. And personally, for me, online is much better because, especially during this pandemic, no one is going out and no one is ordering stuff from the outside, or ordering very essential stuff like food and appliances and all. So no one really has the patience, or actually wants to risk buying an actual book. So I thought during this pandemic, a virtual book or an ebook would be great. So these are the two ways you can publish a book.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, in which class you are?
I'm in class 12, but I started writing this in
Sir,
class.
Okay.
sir,
Yeah,
sir, I wanted to ask that when we are writing all the content and we have finished the book, so how can we make our cover, or because we can't all we can make on the PowerPoint or that all the shades and all.
sure. So either you can take help from, there are many graphic designers or people who specialize in all this. So you can take help from them, or I'm sure you can Google on how to make a cover page, and there are many softwares which you can learn. Now I have to look into that because I myself hired a self-publisher that helped me with all this process, which you can do too. Or you can just learn, softwares like Photoshop. I'm sure you guys are very young and talented, and you're more interested into all this than I am, because I myself was not very interested in writing a book, only because I wanted to talk about the things I know about, because I felt that, because of climate change, that we all should take action. Only that's why I wrote the book. But I'm sure that so cover design and all, I'm telling you, it's nothing to be worried about. You should first finish your book and then think about all this, because what if you design your cover and everything and you're so excited, but when you start writing the book, you feel you hit a dead end and you don't feel like writing it anymore. Am I right? So always focus on writing the book first. All this comes later. But it was a very great question. Thank you.
Sir, can you please show your cover page of the book?
Sure, I have it somewhere here. 1 second. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. This may come off as a bit funny, but 1 second. I'll just log into my website. So as I said, my website is called aravstate.in, and that has there you can download my book. 1 second. I'm just
Thank
yeah, for free. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
my
sir.
book. And this is also quite interesting. Like, it took me a lot of time to design this. So first I took a picture of me, and then it was converted into a sketch by using a simple app. I think it was called Sketch Artist or something. And then the publisher actually helped me with designing this and what should be there and what should not be there. Yeah.
देखा सफारी लग रहा है ना, सफारी है ये बराबर.
Yeah.
सफारी ब्राउजर मुझे पता है, ये एप्पल है. एप्पल का तो आईपैड है, लैपटॉप है, नहीं पता.
Correct.
लैपटॉप है, मैं लैपटॉप है. हाँ, लैपटॉप है, लैपटॉप. हाँ, पता है, लैपटॉप है ये.
You guys can mute yourselves if you don't have a question. Great.
Please, how can we?
Sir,
Yeah.
you said that you are going to tell one paragraph of your book.
I did read it. Do you want me to read something else too?
Yeah.
Sure. So I mean, I'll just show you how you can download my book. So you can just go to aravstate.in. Can you see this on top?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just click here, download my ebook for free. And it will take you to another website where you can get my book. So this will show you a version of my book. I'll just show you that, and then we can start reading. Okay. So this is my book, and this is how it looks. So this is how I've divided it. So there's the review of other people, what they think about my book. Then there's a page about me, um, and who I am, to make sure the readers understand that why I've written the book. And these are the chapters. And I've divided it in such a way that it's easy to read, because each chapter consists of a big portion of the environment or something which causes pollution. And that way, it makes a lot of sense when you're reading it. And before I read, I want to just give you an introduction into how I promoted the book. So I reached out to a lot of people who have done a lot of work in the environment forum. So imagine if you're writing a book about technology, you send a copy to the CEO of Google, or Satya Nadella, or someone who is in technology, or Elon Musk perhaps, and you ask them that if you could please read my book and say something good about it. And if they like your book, they will say something good about it, and then you can use that to promote your book and just generate momentum about it. So I'll show you. This is the governor of Maharashtra.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, how should we end the book if it is finished?
So is it a fiction book or a non-fiction book?
Sir,
Like,
it's a
what is
fiction book.
fiction book? Okay. So again, if it's a fiction book, then I think you're the author and you should decide how to finish it, right? Because it's your story and you should know how to. Because I can't. If I give you an ending, I don't think it'll fit with the rest of your story because I haven't read it. Okay. But yeah, again, I'll just continue with the promotion part. So this is the governor of Maharashtra, Shri Bhagat Singh Koshari, and I sent it to him because he's also involved with the efforts with the Maharashtra government to make sure that we're battling all these environmental issues. And he actually liked my book and gave me a good comment. And I'll just show you who else have commented. This is Mr. Ronnie Screwwala. He's a TV producer, and he's also a philanthropist. So that means he spends a lot of his time and resources in doing social work. And he has an organization called the Swadesh Foundation, which actually focuses on combating social and environmental issues in rural areas. And this is a professor from Ireland, and he focuses on renewable energy and solar power and just stuff like that. And he is the president of the Dublin Institute of Technology, which is a very big institution. And I sent it to him too, and he also thought that the amount of effort I put into something like the environment was quite good, and he liked it. So he also wrote good stuff about my book. And these are so when you have reviews like these help you promote your book and actually gain credibility. So if people think that, oh, he has something from such a famous person, so there must be something good in his book, right? And that's what helps you promote the book.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, how to end an autobiography?
I mean, it's autobiography is your story, right? So
Yes, sir.
so you have to decide what part you want to end it on.
Sir,
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
sir, how many books have you written?
Oh, this is my first book, by the way, and that's what makes the experience valuable to you guys, because I myself have written this book by myself without any help and without any. I think as a first-time author, maybe you could learn something from my experience. Anything else?
Sir, can we publish a book?
Sure, yeah, you can. So I think on Google Books, you can make an account and publish it for free. You don't need any help with that. So it just has to be, I think, in a PDF or a Word document. I think that your parents can help you with. And all you have to do is just upload the book and sign in. Like, you have to say that my name is Rayan and I've written this book and when I wrote it, and you have to say that, oh, I've written this book and no one else has taken any part in it, so that you have to get all the credits, right? Because people will say it's your book. So you have to say that, and that's it. Then you can just upload it and you can publish it. If you want like a hard copy publishing, like something which is made of paper. Okay, so with all these pages in it, then you have to contact a publishing house because only they know how to print it in this version. Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. Anything else I can answer?
Sir, there is there is something plagiarization
Plagiarism. Plagiarism.
in which anybody stole the book
Yeah,
and pretends it. And if there is any book which we have written, and there is another book, that book, and there is no cover page, so it means that it is copied.
correct. So again, I too, because I've taken a lot of data. So this comes from other sources, right? Because I can't investigate how many tons of carbon pollution is released every year, because that I leave to the scientists. But I always, whenever you're taking something from another source or a book, you have to say that, oh, I've taken this from this source. Like, I'll show you how I've written it. 1 second. Yeah, this is at the end. You have references. Do you see this references? Yes.
sir.
So references,
Yes.
you say that here is what I've taken, like, everything from. Like, these are the links where I've taken all my information from, and I'm not plagiarizing it because I'm giving it credits. So if you write a book, Devina, I'll say that, oh, I really like Devina's book and this has a lot of good information in it. So I'll use that information, but I'll also say that this is from Devina's book, and if anyone wants, you can read it here. Something like that. So that then it's not plagiarized. Then because I'm giving you credits.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
If we are writing a book, so how should we start a book? Like interesting or or funny or a little bit normal? How should we start a book?
Sure. So that is the hook. We call it the hook because the hook is very important because it hooks you as a reader. If it's very interesting, it'll hook you, like a fisherman hooks a fish, and actually make you read it. So that's a very good question. So if you're writing a non-fiction book, I don't think you need to have a hook per se. You can just start off by saying that today, like this, the purpose of this book is to talk about technology, and that's why I'm writing it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And then you just get into it, because anyone who's reading a non-fiction book wants to understand the knowledge you have, or be informed about something, right? So they're not particularly interested in the language, or a joke or something, because you're reading it to learn. And that's why I feel that when you're writing a non-fiction book about something which is real, you shouldn't focus more on the language, or I think the introduction or the end. You should focus more on what you're saying, because that's very important. When you're writing a non-fiction book, or a fiction book per se, which is based on your creativity and your imagination, that has to depend on your story. So you can start off by introducing your characters, or you can introduce the setting that it was a it was a starry night and it was getting cold, and something like that, because it all depends on your story, right? Only then, because I can't give you general ways to start, because whatever your story is, you have to introduce it. Imagine you're telling the story in real life. So how would you start? How would you explain to another person what you're trying to say? You have to think it like that.
okay, sir.
Sir, those are called genres.
I'm sorry.
Sir, those are called genres. Like it is funny or it is realistic.
Yeah, correct. Great. Any other questions, or I think we're done.
No, sir.
Great. So I hope you guys enjoyed this session. It was a really great experience talking to all of y'all. And a lot of you are very interested in the book writing process, I can see, and many of you have already started it. So I wish you all the luck in this process, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
I think you guys can leave now.
Okay, yeah, I'm leaving.
Bye,
Thanks.
sir.
Have a
Thank you,
nice day.
sir.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a nice day, sir.
You too.